the Denver Broncos are going to be a real mystery. That was before I took a good look at the Raiders. I thought the Raiders were just probably going to have a nice rebound season, but no, they're loaded on every position. But it's not for talent reasons. No, I think they're just going to have a competition on every single position. Yeah, I'll show you. All right, first we're going to talk about their offense. Next week will be their defense, and then final thoughts. Their offense, unfortunately, surely disappointed the last time we saw them. I mean, Derek Carr tried his best, but man, they were just poor performance from all over. All right, looking at Derek Carr, he's going to probably be the starting quarterback. I don't know why they're having a backup battle, but yeah, it's going to be between Buzz Hackenberg, Connor Cook, and Buzz C.J. Manuel. Can't wait to see who ends up being the loser. And then the running back position. They leaned on Marshawn Lynch, and there were many people wondering how Lynch would do. Well, just like when the Saints signed Adrian Peterson, I don't think it worked out pretty well. I know some people probably say I'm right, some people say I'm wrong, or agree to disagree. But here's my standpoints on some of it. With Marshawn Lynch and the Raiders love to run a stretch run and kind of a zone blocking scheme, but mostly stretch runs. To do that, you need a fast running back. Not quicker than fast works, but they mostly need a fast running back to hit those tackles, to hit the edge real quick. Which is why I think probably at the end of this season they can really go after Falcons running back Telvin Coleman a lot because he would fit that scheme. But right now they just got Marshawn Lynch, and he's probably going to compete snaps with Doug Martin, who they signed from Tampa Bay's Trash Can. And of course it's DeAndre Washington there and Jalen Richard. I feel bad for both those guys because I think they're decent, and they're just going to keep getting thrown to the bottom of the depth chart because it's going to be Gruden, and it's going to be real curious to see if Marshawn Lynch even stays with Gruden and the Raiders, or should I just say Gruden's Raiders, because that's what we're seeing. And then a receiving corps. Oh boy, isn't it loaded? And loaded with just players, not loaded as in talent, but loaded in just players. So of course, probably the only one wide receiver from last year that's going to stay is going to be Amari Cooper, who had a real on and off season. And when I mean on and off, I mean on maybe 5 games, maybe 3 at max, 3 at min, 5 at max, and just too many games where he was just not on the field. Now, I mean, he was on the field, but come on, he really wasn't on the field. And they just got a ton of players. They traded for Martavis Bryant. They signed Jordan Nelson. They also traded for Ryan Switzer. They drafted Marcel Aitman. Oh boy, if I could go down to every wide receiver they added, it would take up an entire hour. Yeah, so clearly there's going to be the first major positional battle. Who the heck's going to be complimenting Amari Cooper? Because I think he still wants I think Gruden does want Cooper to be the main star, but he wants to get him plenty of support help. And this is a crowded battle right here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 wide receivers. 13. Yeah, I think Gruden up there, Monday Night Football, was looking at it going, man, really got to prove this position. Yeah, there's my impression. It sucks. And I'll say it right now. I like Cooper, Bryant, Nelson probably being the main wide receivers. Switzer might be there for special teams. I think Holton just barely makes it with 8 men probably somehow squeaking his way through. I do think the rest of the wide receivers are pretty much done, especially Seth Roberts. I don't think he's going to be back. They might have a couple practice squad, but man, this is a bloated wide receiving core that I want to see this not only trimmed, but see where the focus is going to be. not just judged by who gets the first team snaps, but who gets a ton of snaps in general. When you're looking at these at a crowded lineup, you gotta look to see, okay, who's getting a ton of snaps, who's getting a ton of looks. It doesn't matter where. It's not entirely important on where they play. First, second, third. But say there's a guy who's you don't really know, but he's getting a ton of second string snaps. They're trying to give him as many looks as possible, and they're trying to see, okay, does it really fit this way? How much work does he need, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you look at tight ends, it's probably going to be the same with Lee Smith, Jared Cook, and I think they might keep Pharaoh Brown, maybe. Who knows? The offensive line, that's going to receive some turnover. They still have Hudson, Gabe Jackson, and Kelechi Osamele probably manning the interior of the line. That wasn't much of a problem, but the tackles, it's going to be interesting. They drafted Colton Miller with their first round pick after trading down a couple times, and I think there's probably some underlying that maybe Donald Penn, he might not be back next season. I don't know because they also drafted Brandon Parker in the third round. So this is going to be something. This is also another position to watch, just to see how they handle the offensive line. If they can handle the offensive line in a way to where it's going to be plenty of depth, I think it could work. But there's just a ton of questions. It does look like it's going to be an all-out positional battle with Gruden. He's going to try. He wants to transform this team, but he wants to see what he's got, what he's dealing with. So he brought in all these types of players, and it's going to be a jumbled mess. I think a lot of players are not going to be there. I think just who you think is going to win is probably going to get cut. Yeah, we'll know. But I think I am going to stand by the fact that maybe, just maybe, Donald Penn could be on his way out. Just because when you draft two rookie tackles, not one just to take over the starting, but you draft another one, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. Yeah, this is definitely a Gruden. This does feel like a Gruden roster. Not just by all the aging players he added, but just by how bloated everything feels. You see how many players are added just to play certain positions. You see, who he particularly likes. Like when you watch Monday Night Football and he goes, "Man, I really like that guy. I really like him," and he gets his Gruden hard on for him. It really shows. This will be an interesting offense to see, especially just being I think it's just going to be interesting just seeing how it's assembled. This is more of a team I would keep an eye on during the preseason, and then when regular season comes, of course, you want to see how they function under Gruden, but there'll be a few players I think that might leave / retire because they don't want to because they don't like Gruden. I wouldn't be surprised if Marshawn Lynch calls it quits again and says, nah. Can't wait to see how he does this. Can't wait to see how he assembles that defense. Really.